Hello everyone, I'm Chip Templeton, the Director of the Small Business Development Center in the College of Business here at Mississippi State University in Starkville. Welcome to our Guidelines for Business Plans presentation today for Food as a Business for Producers. The presentation today is the same presentation whether it be for food businesses or not, because all businesses work the same. I will tell you a little bit about the Small Business Development Center here in Starkville. We also have a 10-county area that we represent in the Small Business Development Center. We have an office in downtown Meridian as well. We're a part of the statewide organization called the Mississippi Small Business Development Center. And you'll see from this map here that our 10 counties are in pink, but the rest of the state, we have different regions. So if you're from any of those other areas, there is a Small Business Development Center that's part of our statewide team at other universities. Go to our statewide website at www.mssbdc.org and you can find the one nearest you. Would be happy to help you as well. Today we're going to talk about what all you might put in a business plan. Because when you're starting a business, you're going to need to write it down what your plan is. So many times people start out and they sort of improvise and they wish they'd made a plan and made some big mistakes. So you do it for two important reasons. Number one, you do it for yourself to make sure you're doing something that is at least showing a blueprint for its success first, because if it won't work on paper, it's going to be really hard to make it work in reality. The other reason you do it is because when you go to get bank financing or you get some investors, they're going to want to see your plan before they probably talk to you about anything. They want to see the plan. And we're here to help you, not write it for you, but to show you how to do it and guide you through it. We can have a counseling relationship with our organization, and we can work with you over a period of time to help you with your plan. A plan is going to need something to kind of summarize it at the beginning. It's generally called an executive summary. It's usually written last. However, I suggest writing it first, but don't try to make it your final version until you've written the whole plan, because sometimes your plan may have changed when you find out a little more information in your research that you've changed something up. But it's your 3-minute elevator speech. What can you say in 300 to 600 words that would summarize what you're about? You want it to answer things like, who are you? Who do you serve? What do you do? Is there a market for it? Are you going to be able to provide for that expertise? Will your market pay for it? What assets are you going to need to do it? What are they going to cost? How are you going to pay for them? If you kind of stay grounded in those, it'll tell you what kind of goes in the executive summary. The next section in this Word document that you're going to write, again, there's no template to go by. You're just going to start writing a Word document. Describe your business. Shouldn't be any longer than a page. I like to double space. You could single space. I like to double space this document. You might tell, what are the products that you're going to be selling or services you're going to be offering. Why and when did you form your business? What makes your business different from everybody else? The next section is your legal structure. All you need to put in this is to let the banker and the investor know which legal structure that your business is. In other words, if you're recognized by the Department of Revenue in your state or the IRS, your accountant does your taxes based on, are you a sole proprietorship? Are you a partnership? Are you a corporation? Are you a limited liability company? Most people call those LLCs. You need to state what you are. You get to decide when you go into business which one you're going to be. Occasionally, people change their business structure, but it's a pretty rare event that you would do that. But you're going to select the one that's best for you. Make sure it's explainable in your business plan which one you did select. If you have officers and board members, you could write those down as well. So your legal structure is just a fancy way of saying you're operating as one of these 4 items. Who the management and the personnel. A lot of businesses that we deal with, the management and the personnel are one and the same because they're usually just a one-person business or 3 or 4 people. However, you need to summarize who is running the company. It could be the owner is running the company, but if the owner is not running the company, put yourself in the banker's or investor's place throughout this whole presentation. What would you want to know if you were loaning the money? Who is running the business? What are their qualifications? If there's an organizational chart that it could explain who's doing what, it would be great to put in here. Record keeping and accounting. Kind of 2 different things. Record keeping is going to be how are you going to keep up with your sales, all of your records. You want to decide that before you get into business. And who is going to do your tax work. So what a CPA or accountant you're going to use. Your banker is going to want to know what are you using. Maybe it's your software. Maybe it's who your accounting firm is going to be, the specific CPA or whomever is going to be doing it. They want to know, do you know it's very important for you to do this? Same thing with insurance and security systems. You want to have insurance, in particular general liability insurance. There may be other types of insurances, but the banker is going to want to know, what kind of insurance, what's it going to cost per year, who your agent is or insurance company you're going to use, so you'll be getting a bid and so forth, what that might be to start out with. If you have a security system or a need for that in your business, this would be a good place to include that here. If a banker is loaning for inventory and someone could steal that inventory, it would be a great comfort for you and them to know if something got stolen or whatever, that you might be able to identify how it was stolen, who stole it, if you had security cameras, or might prevent a theft by having that system. These would be great things to know about your insurance and security. In writing your business plan, if applicable, which this is probably more applicable in a lot of cases than you might think, this is a way of saying, if something happened to one of the owners or the owners, what's next with the business? If you've loaned money to this business, you're going to be wondering how you're going to get your money. So maybe there's a buy-sell agreement between the owners in case one of the owners dies or some other topic comes up. It's nice to kind of know how you're planning for the future in the event something happened to one of the owners or certain events took place. This is where your accountant and attorney can come in really handy to help you in your situation, to come up with some ideas what that should be. Now we're going to switch gears and talk about the selling part of your products. So we want to identify who your target market is. So you need to describe as quickly as you can, but as detailed as you can, what are the characteristics of your customer? What is the size of the market? And you're going to need to quantify kind of how you came up with about how many people that is. So you may need to do some homework on what are the demographics. How many people fit that characteristic of your customer, either in the market where you're selling your product locally, or if it's an online business, where those customers are coming from, because you're going to get a certain percent. Maybe you've come up with surveys and questionnaires that you've had people to to give you some input. You've got enough data there that you can say of 100 people we surveyed, so many people said that they would buy our product and how often they might buy and what they might spend on it per purchase or something. So some way to quantify that. So you can make a projection of what your sales might be in a year, second year, third year, and so forth. More about marketing and sales. You know, you want to be able to describe how you're going to market your products and services to those people in your target market. So are you going to be using social media? How are you going to reach them? You know, is it word of mouth? Is it going to be through TV, radio, or farmers markets, or wherever you're going to go? Kind of give an idea how you're planning to reach people, to tell them about your product, so that way you know you're going to get so many sales based on a quantified way of reaching people. Here at the Small Business Development Centers, we have some marketing tools that we can talk about as we go here that could be of help to you with understanding industry trends and so forth. You want to be able to identify your competition. So don't ever say there is no competition, because no matter if you think you're the only one doing it, there's probably somebody competing for those same dollars in some other way. It may be something that you haven't thought of necessarily, but they do compete with you. But make sure you do know who your direct competitors are. I would recommend listing 2 or 3 or 4 of who the competitors are, you know, maybe how far away they are from where your location's going to be, or what is it that makes your company different from what those businesses are. You know, maybe you're going to be reaching people in a different way or have different hours, or products are going to be different, but what makes you different than what they are doing? Pricing. I would never just compete on the basis of price only, but you would need to communicate how you're going to plan to price your items. It could be on your cost plus a certain percent, or comparing it with other type of products similar to that, maybe what the competition is doing for that. It could be you're having to sort of guess. This one time we're guessing sometimes can be an okay deal if you don't know what the market is for something. You know, maybe you've gotten some input for some people, but always better to guess a little high and come down as to vice versa. But the bankers are going to want to have an idea, kind of how you're pricing things in your business. Where's your location? So you want to certainly list what your location is going to be. If you have a retail store or you have an online business, could be located anywhere. It could be your home business. You know, where are you going to locate your business? You need to explain that. Maybe why you picked that location. You want to make sure it's legal for you to be in that location, that it's zoned properly and so forth. Maybe it's traffic counts. You need to be where the most traffic counts are, so you might need to do some studying about how to know how many cars pass in front of your location a day. All sorts of things here that you'll need to explain in your location. If you're going to have to make some adjustments to the location, if you're going to purchase it, or you want to lease out a storefront and make repairs to it, you'll need to know kind of what you want to ask for there. Bankers and investors love to know, why did you want to do this, and why do you want to do it now? You know, it can be whatever reason you want it to be for. Usually you know what that is. Maybe you're just trying to change to something totally different, or you've heard of a new product that we don't have in the area and you think it might be successful. It could be any number of things, but just explain very briefly why you decided to get into this business and why did you decide that this was the right time to do it. Industry trends. Again, we could help you at the Small Business Development Center by helping you get some national trends or statewide trends, perhaps. Reports on each business has its own characteristics, and we can help identify what your business is, what section they're in, and help give you an idea of what those industry trends are. You'd hate to find out you were going into something that was a declining in an industry trend. So you would want to know that going into it to make sure that you knew that's possible, that it might go that way in your local area too. Now we're kind of getting in some numbers. There's a form called the Sources and Usage form, sometimes known as the Summary or Financial Need form. But in a nutshell, what that is a piece of paper that you'll want to fill in and list the things that you want to get money for. Because if you're wanting a bank loan or an investor, they're going to ask you how much. You need to have it all itemized out, real nice and neat, what you want money for. And so they're going to want to know how much are you going to put up and how much of it do you want us to loan you or give you for part ownership of your company. So bankers want you to have some money in your investment. They figure if you're not going to invest in yourself, why should they invest in you? So let's say you decided you need $100,000 on your sources and uses statement, and you could come up with $20,000, but you wanted to borrow the other $80,000, and so you'll be showing what you need those $80,000 for and what you're going to do with your $20,000. There's a form called the Profit and Loss Projection form. Each month you can come up with your projections. The Small Business Development Centers can help you come up with this if you need some assistance with it. This says a 2-year projection. We, here at our SBDC, we help people prepare a 3-year projection, so 36 months worth of profit and loss projections. A banker's going to want to see that. Also, there's a thing called the pro forma cash flow, which is the same thing sort of as I just described in the profit loss, but its focus is on the cash. So if you're making money, making a profit, that money ought to be somewhere. It's either going to be in your checking account, or maybe you have invested it in some more inventory, or where it would be. But you want to show that it is going to be cash flow positive, and that you know that you're looking for a ROI, which is a return on investment. Otherwise, you would just be better off not borrowing the money if you weren't going to be making any money with it. You want to determine what your revenue, your sales are going to be, your cost of goods, your operating expenses. These are the type of things that we can help you with at the Small Business Development Center. A balance sheet is something that you will be using that is a summary of where you are at any given time with your assets, which would be your things that you own like cash or inventory, automobiles or equipment. Liabilities would be the loans that you have outstanding or your accounts payable. And the difference between those two is the net worth. So if you had assets of 10 and you had liabilities of 2, then you got a net worth of 8. Your business works like that. It needs to know what a balance sheet is. We can help you with that here at the Small Business Development Centers. We certainly urge your accountants or CPAs to help you with all these things as you get your business going, or even before you get your business going. Final steps. A business plan. Again, I would recommend a Word document, and just sort of these different sections that I've explained to you, I would try to go by those. If you want to deviate from that a little bit, that's perfectly fine. There's no one way to do a business plan. It should be professional looking, so use black ink, bind it neatly. How many pages does it need to be? This list, 20 to 30 pages long. It's not a contest as to how long it needs to be. If you can summarize it in many fewer pages, that's great. Things complicated can be summarized in short areas as well. So don't make it any longer than it needs to be to explain your message. Again, this business plan is to be your voice. If you were to hand it to someone and say, read this, and you didn't explain it to them at all, and then you asked them to explain what they read, you would know you're hitting the mark if they could explain it back to you and they understood what you were trying to tell them. So this is sort of your silent voice put on paper. A lot of times you'll get a chance to explain it, but a banker may take this plan you give them and hand it to another banker, and you don't get to talk to that banker. So this, again, it's your voice. But make sure it communicates very well. You want to keep track of the copies that you've got out and so forth. We can help you here not write your business plan for you, but certainly guide you through it, facilitate you through it, help you come up with ideas to go into it as you work your plan. It's a lot of fun to put your plan together. Think you'll see your business and to confirm that this is a great idea, something you want to risk, or you may decide it's just not going to make enough money for the risk that you're taking, because you could lose all your money and end up in a very bad situation. But having a plan gives you a much better possibility of being successful, because you've got a plan to work around, something to go by, and certainly you'll have to make changes along the way as things come up you don't know about. Now, having said all that we talked about, sort of best practice for writing the business plan, I'm now throwing in something totally different with you. When you go to see a banker or investors, certainly they're going to want to see your business plan, but they want to know a little bit more about you. So be prepared that you might want to know about various things that I have up here. Maybe in your case it doesn't have to be every one of these, but the most common ones would be your owner's personal financial statement. So if you don't have a personal financial statement, or you and your spouse or whatever, you might want to write one, or we can help you write one as well, because that's going to determine a lot about whether they want to loan you the money or not, because you're backing up your personal information to the business as well. Your credit report, you need to know kind of what your credit score is. The banker's going to know it, so you don't need to have any surprises. If you've got negative things on there, that way you're prepared to explain them, or something for you all to discuss to see how they might could help you. If you're going to lease a place, they're going to want to probably see your lease agreement. Sometimes they want to see your tax returns. Photographs can be great to explain where you're going to be and so forth. Other things up there could come in handy. Could be letters of reference or resume on you or the other owners and so forth. But just wanted you to know that even after you do your homework of your business plan, there are other things to take with you when you go to discuss. And we can help you with these things as well to think them through if you need us here at the Small Business Development Center. And that's the presentation today. That was just a really quick overview of the guidelines for writing a business plan. And again, whether it be for food as a business, for the producers that are out there, or it could be for any other type business. The Small Business Development Centers would love to help you around the state. I would love to help you here at Mississippi State if you're in our 10-county area, or if you are comfortable coming here in lieu of your location, or wherever you want to get some help, we'll try to help you. Thank you so much for listening today, and I hope to see you at a presentation in the future.